Vancouver Titans as well as the Gladiators, since we haven't seen either of those teams play, so we don't really know what they'll be rolling up with, and they have plenty of time to, you know, watch and learn as well. Now, Washington Justice went 4-0 in the May Melee, and, you know, we can't get enough of Mac and Fury and DK. Big fans here on the desk, but here we are with 3 members of this desk predicting the Boston to win this one. Reinforce, you also went with Boston. What gives? Why is that?
Yeah, well, I think you just gotta stop coping with the Washington Justice. Obviously, they were great in the main melee because they can play that Winston composition at such a high level, right? But Boston Uprising, to me, they were the one who showed yesterday against the Toronto Defiant that they are willing to adapt, and they also selected the right composition. So similar to the Atlanta Reign, actually, Boston Uprising, they impressed me with their compositional choices, and we know about the Washington Justice. They struggle to adapt, they struggle to find the right kind of meta, they want to play their comfort picks. Well, that's not really working out in the June Joust so far, so I think Boston Uprising, they definitely have an edge finding this double shield composition and also playing to some of their strengths going into this matchup.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Oh,
I love that.
Johnny summarized it so well. The one big question that I have on my mind for this match is Decay going to play? Obviously, a lot of outcries from the fans yesterday from the Washington Justice when they lost to the Paris Eternal. We saw Jerry and no Decay, their all-star, superstar DPS player that just didn't show up. Obviously, it's only been a day. Are they going to flip some of their strategies around to fit Decay in, or are they just going to sort of work with what they've been practicing?
This
they
kind
might
of
need
stuff
to do
is
something
tough, right? It's a short turnaround. I mean, how much can you fundamentally change really from one day to another? Players also need rest, right? Like you don't want to overwork them the night before their match
just
either.
Play. I understand, sorry, but just play him. Just go. He needs to play.
Just go.
He's the superstar. Just go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, heard it here first. Coach Johnny wants DK to play, so he better be playing, or he's going to be disappointed or angry. I don't know what's worse. Speaking of bad things, it's time for bold predictions presented by Pringles, and it is my turn. Yeah, that's right. We kind of dropped the ball on bold predictions, and then Danny rocked up with his. You overshot the target by
no, it was pretty close though. If I didn't say if I wasn't map specific, then I could have gotten it right.
They could have dialed it down a little bit. So yeah. I figured I'm going to give this one a shot. My bold prediction is quite bold. I don't even want to say it out loud. Boston is going undefeated in the June Joust qualifiers.
Question mark.
Okay.
Question mark? Okay. I say with so much conviction. I mean, next up they have Paris Eternal. I think that's a doable one. Then they have Gladiators. That's completely unknown. Like I have no idea what Gladiators is going to roll up with. But
that is bold.
Yeah,
that is bold. I'll give you that.
For this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It's bold enough. It's the right amount of bold.
Brave.
Yeah, it's brave. I'm a brave person.
It's not going to happen because Washington's going to win.
Okay, well, you heard it first. Shut me down just
logic.
like that. That's rough. It's rough, yeah. Well, there's only one way of finding out, Danny, if you will edge ahead in our rankings, and more importantly, of course, if the Washington Justice fans can rejoice, and that is by playing the match. And of course, for that, we need some casters. So we brought in the S-Class casting duo, Mitch and Mr. X.
I thought we were going to get roasted for a sec. I was like, wow.
No, I just rocked up with a compliment. I just also, I
nice.
need to say this, Mitch. This is going to sound like an
Oh, he's not.
Are they playing?
No, he's not playing. I mean,
no.
Yeah, he's not in. I think though saying Boston's gonna go undefeated after just yesterday's performance is.
It's a bolt.
All right, Washington Justice fans, sorry for the technical issues. We've been having some Fun mornings here, trying to get everything up and running, connecting to the Blizzard stream and all that fun stuff. But nonetheless, it is time for Washington Justice action. My name is Fiasco. I am joined once again by the man, the myth, the legend, the king of the courtside king. You can call him Joe. You can call myself John. We're all friends here as always. So first off, welcome everyone. I know it's one day after the Washington Justice dropped their first match of the season. Definitely didn't go the way that we all expected nor hoped. It was a 3-0 decision to the Paris Eternal. Not the best, Joey. It was not our best showing, but we are looking forward to that bounce back here today. Going up against a Boston Uprising team that we defeated earlier in the season back in the May Melee section 3-1.
Yeah, absolutely. We took down Boston 3-1, but this is a different looking Boston team. Now, I'm not saying the Justice aren't going to win. The Justice are phenomenal. They have a very good shot at winning today. But on top of that, this is a Boston team in a new meta as well. We saw it yesterday when they went up against Toronto. They took a 3-0 victory. A lot of people weren't expecting this Boston team to come out that dominant. But when it comes to new meta, these bottom tier teams can potentially get much stronger depending on who's banned out. We saw them struggle with the Tracer meta and the Sombra meta at the DPS role, now looking much better with a refreshed champion pool there. Overall, I think this will be a pretty good matchup. When we look back, the Boston Uprising lost to us 3-1, but also in that matchup, John, there were some very tight maps here and there. We had a couple go to overtime. I believe that was one where the Justice had another really strong hold. It wasn't the Hanamura hold, but another really strong hold. I want to say it was Volskaya, able to pull that one out. So in the end, I think this will probably be a pretty good match today.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the one thing that we continue to look at is the meta and how it's currently shaping up right now. Right now, based upon everything else that we've been watching all the games as much as everyone else has been. Echo really seems like she's going to be a mainstay here going forward. We're seeing Doomfist being brought in, and even Orisa, she's being brought in as well as a replacement for Reinhardt, using her shield, really helping out the team as well. So we are seeing those picks. And then, of course, the big question mark from yesterday was Decay not playing. Taking a look at our starting lineup right now. As of right now, Decay not in either. It's Assassin, Jerry, Mag, Fury, Bebe, and Closer. It is the same matchup from what we saw yesterday against Paris. And again, you know, we heard Watchpoint talk about it here a little bit as well. And we hit on a little bit yesterday on the co-stream. You know, it really comes down to the current meta is what this Justice team is really focusing on. You know, again, we don't have official word on roster updates or anything. We don't have all the behind-the-scene answers for everything here. But from what we know from our conversations with the coaching staff, with management there, you know, Decay is a team player. If this meta is not best for him, then he's gonna allow the best players to play. And that's the same thing with the coaching staff there as well. We had the VP of the Washington Justice on yesterday as well. And he even touched on it too. This team is very focused on the team versus the individual superstar. So that's always great to see here. And hopefully, you know, even though the Justice lost yesterday, we saw flashes of brilliance even without Decay in the lineup.
Absolutely, and it's a good time. It's still very early on in the season. I know Justice fans, you want to see Decay, and there's a good chance you'll see him later today, maybe if not today, later on when they play again. But at the same point, this is a great time to get some of these new players experience as well. Assassin coming in as a rookie. This is a good time to allow him to kind of level up in a sense to get on the playing field of the Overwatch League. So far, he's been playing pretty strong. That Echo yesterday looking pretty good as well. But again, yes, Decay is a star. We'll probably see him at some point. Coming into the weekend, it seems like the game plan, at least for now, will continue with Assassin as well as Jerry coming in, though.
Absolutely. And again, I mean, it's not a knock on Assassin or Jerry when people cry out for Decay. It's just, you know, yes, we as fans know Decay is very, very talented at DPS. We know what Decay can bring, but we also know Assassin and Jerry are just as talented, just as skillful as well. And in this current meta, with that Tracer ban, with that Sombra ban, you know, Assassin and Jerry, from the team perspective, are the two DPS that are going to be able to perform at the highest level that they need to be competitive. And again, without the meta really being clear right now, it's really hard to see where Decay may fit in this lineup if they're thinking the meta's going a different direction. You know, it's still a big question mark with these hero bans.
Absolutely. And Decay played a lot of Tracer in the May Melee, played it to one of the best degrees we saw in the Overwatch League, and he's very capable of playing other heroes as well. So, again, the rotation of him coming into the lineup today is a high possibility. It's also a possibility that it does get held off until next week. It's still very early in the season. A loss here and there is going to hurt us as Justice fans, but as far as the team goes, it allows that experience to come in. It allows the team to kind of meld into new champions and new heroes as well. Like we said, Assassin being a rookie, now getting a bit more playtime. Played Echo quite well yesterday as well. Naga's Echo just seemed to be on a whole nother level.
Absolutely, as both teams are coming out. First map, Lijiang Tower. Assassin back on Echo. Boston not choosing to go with the Echo. Instead, it looks like they'll be going with May and Symmetra here to start out on the first point. Valentine on the May, using that ice block, trying to get that extra healing and try to freeze more players. Jerry popping off with the double kill really early on here as well. Both teams fighting for early point possession on Lijiang Tower. And Assassin and the Justice will cap this point first. Really taking it to Boston on that first team fight. Joey, I mean, if we're looking for positive steps in the right direction, especially after yesterday's 5-map 3-0 with 2 tie maps in there as well, this is a step in the right direction. This is the kind of team play we want to see, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from Assassin on Echo so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming into the weekend, it seems like the Justice's plan was to run Assassin, was to run Jerry, to see these two together, play these particular heroes, because Assassin obviously playing a pretty strong Echo from what we've seen in the first couple of days. Jerry able to flex to either the Reaper, the Widowmaker. We've seen him come out with a pretty effective McCreepy the first couple of weeks as well. Now, once again, capturing this point up to 40% already. So far in map 1, it's looking pretty good. Yesterday, yeah, we were shaky. I think we showed some signs of brilliance. Overall, Paris was just playing very well yesterday. I think today we'll see a lot more of what that plan was supposed to look like.
Yeah, and Assassin just absolutely wrecking the Boston Uprising in the last fight as well. Taking the form of Diva, really taking it to him. Solid team fight. They're holding on to possession. Now past 50% here on point 1. Joey, I'm feeling good. I feel like today already has a different vibe to it. I'm feeling the positive energy from everyone watching on the official YouTube channel, The Washington Justice. Again, a big shout out to everyone joining us here today. I know yesterday, Joey, they had the official watch party at the downtown headquarters, the brand new headquarters of the Washington Justice. Looking forward to having more of those and even doing this stream live from those events as well later in the season.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. And on top of that, yes, with the mayor of DC opening more things up, we're going to get some more watch party coming in here later on. More of you will get an opportunity to go down there as those capacity limits continue to increase. But for now, the only thing increasing is Boston's time on this point as the Justice look to retake here. We have a Moira ult up, a Lucio ult, as well as that Reaper Death Blossom.
Yeah, ult economy looking good for the side of the Justice right now. Actually, it's tied 3-3. Deadeye coming out. I am Valentine with the probably that's Jerry with the Death Blossom, picking up a double kill, taking down the support line of the Uprising. This stand will be the last one trying to make a stand. He will fall, and the Justice will recap this point, starting at 76%, working their way up. Only 45% for Boston. I think that's a very solid, quick retake here for the Justice after dropping after the initial cap.
Absolutely, and they should be able to hold on to this one for a while. I have a feeling they're going to hit 99%. It doesn't look like Boston is going to have too much time to retake. It's going to be very close. We're probably going to be forced into an overtime depending how the Justice play these last couple seconds out.
Now Assassin duplicating Orisa. Orisa making herself more known in the current meta question mark, as we're still trying to figure out what that meta is, but Orisa being a more popular pick right now, especially with Reinhardt being out of the hero pool. Boston trying to make last second stand. Sound barrier is down. Trying to take that fight in. IM is starting to pop off on McCree. They'll go ahead and recap at 45. Justice got all the way at 99%, forced it to overtime. One strong team fight could be the difference here. The Justice will look to regroup.
Yeah, it's pretty much what we expected here. Hit that 99, get that overtime. Boston was able to retake in the end as that fight does not go the way of the Justice. With that being said, they have a Lucio ult to work around for the retake. That sound barrier should be a big advantage for the Justice coming out here.
Absolutely a great way to initiate a team fight. They have to be careful. The Death Blossom is up for Valentine, but a well-timed sound barrier could definitely be the difference there. And there it is, and Valentine will go for the Death Blossom as well. The same time, Closer used the sound barrier. There's not going to be much happening there, but Jerry picking up a kill as well. On to IM. Players on both teams dying. It will be last man standing here on the point, and Boston looks to hold as they're now approaching the mid-90s here on point 1. Now they're looking to push up. Justice will have to get back quick into overtime. Jerry and Mag both hopping onto the point, resetting that overtime timer, waiting for the rest of the Justice to get back in time. Faith trying to use that Lucio boop to keep him off the point. And Boston will hold on to secure the first point here on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker there. The Justice hitting that 99% first, just not able to defend off in that final fight. The retake looked like it was going to be decent with Closer's ult available, but in the end, Boston able to fend off and take point 1.
Before we start the second point here on Lijiang Tower, just a friendly reminder, we want you to get that in-game loot. So make sure you do have the official Overwatch League stream up in another tab. Go ahead and just like slide the volume down. You don't want to listen to them anyway. You want to hang out here with the rest of the Washington Justice fam on the official co-stream of the Washington Justice. But have that other tab up so you can get that sweet in-game currency so you can afford those amazing Washington Justice in-game skins. Trying to make sure everyone gets all the cool in-game stuff for free. Why not? It's great. Oh, make sure your Blizzard account's linked to your YouTube account as well. That's the only way it's going to happen. Moving on to point 2. Joey, I'm hoping you have yours linked to your YouTube channel already, right?
Of course, John, but I'm actually just tuned into this stream. I'm fully focused on the Washington Justice fam right now as we get ready to capture the point here. 5 men on point, and it is now a capture. Let's start ticking up that percentage.
Justice capping it first. Through 10% already. The early cap here on point 2. Roughly the same start that we saw from point 1. Unfortunately, in the end, not going in favor of the Justice. Boston's now coming in from the backside. They're trying to cap the point as well. They will push the Justice off as the fighting continues in the back. Now it's contested once again. Valentine switching to Echo here on point 2. Trying to be that same thorn in the side that we had yesterday, but it seems not to be working for him as the Justice will hold on. And Boston will lose all advantage they had in trying to take over that point. Now through 50% for the Justice. Looking good here on point 2.
Yeah, we just need to do a better job holding on than we did at the end of the last point. Overall here, ticking up, it's going quite well so far. There's definitely going to be a few more fights as these ultimates become available, but the Justice ult economy is looking pretty good into these final fights, depending how many Boston ends up using this next one.
Now at 70% for the Justice. Taking the fight in that back room from the point. Jerry ready to go with that Death Blossom. We'll wait for the right moment to use it. Now at 85% for the Justice.
And we should be looking pretty good here. This is, again, going to get close to 99%, I have a feeling. Still quite a few ults up for the Justice. A Moira ult, a Reaper ult, a Winston ult, as well as a D.Va ult. Closer's ult is not going to be up and available this time, but Boston very lacking in the ult economy at the moment. This is definitely in favor of the Justice.
Yeah, and Stan will go ahead and use his Winston ult as well. Justice looking to hold on. Just one player left. It's Valentine trying to make something happen on that Echo. Can't get the solo cap. Now they will. Boston able to cap the point. 99% for the Justice. Just unable to hold on that last fight. Now Valentine pushing up. trying to push Justice back. They want to get as much percentage on point 2 here at Lijiang Tower as much as they can.
Yeah, it's a tough one for the Justice. Another 99% fight that just does not go their way. They used quite a few ults in that fight as well. Now a couple ults up on the side of Boston. You have the McCree ult coming up, the Zarya ult getting close. You have Ana's ult up as well. They're probably going to pop a couple in the next fight. The Justice will have a bit of time to play with, though, as Boston's only around 30%.
Another team fight coming out. Assassin and Jerry already down. Following roughly the same time here. No DPS for the Justice. This looks like it will be a reset. The Justice so close to recapping that point. They'll go ahead and regroup. Boston still under 50% for now, but not for too long.
Yeah, the key for the Justice is going to be on these next couple retake opportunities. They need to try to force Boston to use some ultimates. If they can pull some ultimates out of Boston, allow their meters to still charge up, they should be able to have a good play around 80-90%.
Boston definitely desperate here. They cannot allow the Justice to recap, but the Justice will try to push once again, but it's a team fight not going in favor of the Justice. Boston now through 75% here on point 2. Justice will try to make a play through the back end of the point once again. Boston up towards that bridge. Didn't know which way they were going to go. Assassin will go ahead and duplicate Winston, try to attack that back line, but that won't last too long. Now Mag going primal as well, trying for that last second fight. Both teams at 99. This team fight will determine who takes this point. The Justice desperately need this point to keep themselves alive here in map 1. Fury and Mag doing everything he can. Assassin last man standing. And unfortunately, Boston will take point 1 and point 2 here on Lijiang Tower. They will go ahead and go up 1-0 here in the series against our Washington Justice.
Yeah, that's a tough one to start the day on Lijiang. That's one of the ones we ended up losing yesterday in the matchup against Paris. Now losing again here, going 0-2 this time. And 99% on both points. We were right there, just 1% away from closing it out. In the end, Boston with some really nice retakes. Washington struggling to take a retake with quite a few ultimates available on that second point. In the end, yeah, not going our way here, but there's still a lot to be played. I think there's some good takeaways in there in the sense that we did take it to 99%. It sucks that we didn't close it out. That's rough. But at the same point, we were able to fight a lot better than we looked in some of the matches yesterday. So I think overall, if we can continue to build upon that, if we can use our ultimates a little bit more effectively, in particular, having 4 up, that should be a fight that we're winning. Unfortunately, not going our way here on Lijiang. But moving forward, that's got to be a fight we win.
100% agree here, as all they're doing right now is just showing those highlights from Boston. We don't want to see any of that right now. Joey, I mean, look, we'll take a look at the positive takeaways from this matchup. Yeah, it was a map that we dropped yesterday, but the team fighting seemed a lot better today here against Boston. Obviously, they didn't. We don't have Naga from Paris being an absolute thorn in our side today, but it just came down to those last minute holds. It just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's communication. I don't know maybe if it's just the picks they're using. But, it just seems they're able to cap the point. They're able to recap the point, but they just can't hold off on that last team fight once it gets to 99% and into overtime. And then both times on point 1 and point 2 of Lijiang Tower gave the point back to Boston, and they were able to run it all the way up. And the Justice is just struggling to recap that point when both teams are at 99.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, similar to the point, it feels like we're at 99% of this communication as well. Again, having 4 ultis up against 1 or 2 in the opposing team. I think there's only 2 or 3 players up at that point. Faith playing quite well there. In the end, those are fights we need to win. Those are fights we need to finish out and close out the points on. Unfortunately, this one not going our way. But again, we're so close. We're so close. It's not like we're so far away that we have so many improvements that need to be made. It's just an adjustment here or there should be the difference in these maps.
Absolutely. And second map, Joey, do you have the second map written down by chance? I don't think I wrote that.
I do. It's going to be Hollywood, guys. We are going out to California for this one.
Awesome, Hollywood. One of the original maps. I like that. Back-to-back OG maps here for today's matchup. Again, I know a lot of Justice fans are kind of curious with, will Decay make his appearance here? Hopefully. Maybe. We don't know. Well, we find out when you guys find out. So we'll see if there's any substitutions made here as well. But, I would probably make the argument that the DPS really wasn't the issue here on Lijiang Tower. It just seemed to be the overall team fight. Ult economy looked pretty good. Justice went into a lot of these team fights with the advantage. They're timed well. We saw the Lucio Soundberry ult used on Reaper's Death Blossom, so that was great on the side of the Justice to nullify that Death Blossom, and it worked out very well. Just after that, the problem was that engage wasn't sustained, and they were able to not win that team fight, and Boston took point 1. Same thing on point 2. It came down to the last second. There are some heroes that got swapped out for quick mobile ones to get back to the point to kind of draw it out a little bit more. But the problem is when you do that, yes, you reset the overtime timer, but then you're really out of comp, and then it's really tough to do sustained damage. So we'll have to see how they change here going into Hollywood, which is a hybrid map. So it will be capture the point and then push a car, a very fancy car, at least on this one. So we'll see how well they do. I mean, capping points seemed pretty fine for the Justice yesterday, except on
the official refreshment of
I'm blanking what map it was.
Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, it was Lijiang Tower. That was so
Lijiang and Ilios. We struggled on both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully, I mean, so far we've already seen those improvements. We've seen a lot of team play improvements so far. It just comes down to that last team fight. That's where the team's currently struggling, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on the ult economy in general. I feel like they had a number of ults up for these fights. They use the ults pretty effectively as well. For me, it kind of comes down to target selection. I feel like the Justice are having a hard time getting onto the supports or onto the DPS in a lot of these different fights. Credit to the Boston Tanks as well for that, though. Doing a great job peeling for the supports, allowing them to stay in that back line. In a sense, uncontested, as the Justice having a very hard time getting to them. I don't think that's an issue of the Justice DPS. I feel like they're playing pretty effectively with what they're given. At the same point, it seems like that communication just in general for the team is just slightly off, just missing that 1% difference that could be the difference in these maps.
Going into Hollywood, looking at the lineups here. No changes on the side of the Justice. Assassin, Jerry, Mag, Fury, Bebe, and Closer. Your lineup going into Hollywood, looking to bounce back and even this series up after Boston took map 1 on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I'll be honest, guys. I don't think we see any substitutions today. I think I would be surprised if we do. It seems like the game plan for this weekend is the game plan they're going to stick with. They're going to come in here. They're going to run Assassin and Jerry. They're going to run Mag and Fury on those tanks. There was some talk with the Overwatch desk about the possibility of us seeing Decay sub in playing Zarya. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, Fury is a phenomenal Zarya as well. He could play it just as well. But in the end, we'll have to see if Decay does come in. I personally think they stick to the strategy, though. It seems like they're built upon trying to make this work. Whether they use it next week or the following week when we do see them back in action, I don't think that will be the case. But at least for now in this meta, they're going to keep it going.
Absolutely. There is one sub, though. It's on the side of Boston. Punk coming in. We'll be joining Stand on the tank line for Boston there. And again, we'll see how this Justice team bounces back. I mean, they are very, very talented. They're very skilled. They know what to do. It's just coming down to that last minute execution there on Lijiang Tower. Hopefully, I had a quick little pep talk in between maps so we can even this series up. I mean, if we take a look at history, Joe, I mean, Boston did take one map off of us last time. I mean, it can still be 3-1.
Yeah, it's very true. Very much a possibility. I think for me, the biggest thing is the change of meta, though. We're still seeing the Justice kind of struggle a little bit to get their new footing within this meta. Boston, on the other hand, looked very good yesterday against the Defiant, a 3-0 victory there. Coming out so far today, I feel like it's been, I'm going to say a 50-50. It's been very close. The Justice hitting 99% on both point A and B there. On Lijiang, it could have went either way, give a team fight here or there. It could have been the difference. So heading into Hollywood, hopefully we'll see a little bit more answered, and hopefully the Justice are able to implement that plan that they've come into the weekend with a little bit better here.
Absolutely. Now off to Hollywood we go as the Justice look to even this series up at 1 apiece. Looking to bounce back from our first loss of the season yesterday to Paris. I mean, it's always good, obviously, they're not getting the results they want, but they do have a smile on their face. They're still laughing and having a good time, and that's, that's a great sign. The game's not getting to them. They're able to still have fun while doing this. Obviously, yes, it is a competition, and once they're in game, they're good to go, but it's definitely a good sign to see. At least Bebe's having a good time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't see too many smiles over there at the moment.
I quickly changed it to
hungry to
Bebe.
me. They look very hungry. They're like, okay, we know we're capable of winning this. We know we're capable of closing this out. We're not the team to get to 99% and give it up. They know that, and that's why you see some players wiping their eyes. That's why you see some players, I'm not going to say agitated, but not quite here yet. You don't see all smiles across the board as of yet. I think as we go on, depending how this next map goes, maybe you start seeing a few more peek out outside of just Bebe's there. But in the end, this team knows they're strong. This team knows they should be a top contender, and this team is not happy giving up maps like they just did there.
Absolutely. So it looks like we are just a few moments away from hopping in as we take a look at the time banks from years past, which have no relevance to the current team because the roster was completely different. Washington, the victim of 2 of the top 3 time banks. A very, very different roster from then and now.
Maybe it's time for us to set a new record here with us on the opposing side instead. Yeah, it's tough. 2019, that was a very different roster for the Justice. I mean, it was even a different roster for the Fusion and Spark that they're showing there as well. So as you said, yes, for the organization, it's somewhat relevant. But as far as rosters, both of those rosters are very different now. Boston's also very different from what we saw back then. So it's a completely fresh slate for the Justice to make a new name for themselves here on Hollywood as we get ready to load in.
And they'll be the Justice on the attack first. We'll see what Boston choose to come out of their spawn with. Looks like it's going to be an Echo, Ashe, Orisa, Sigma, Get, all the fun stuff. It's a great lineup. Baptiste. We'll see if the Justice stick with their lineup or they will make some last-second changes. It doesn't look like Boston's going to try to push up to take a peek real quick.
Yeah, if they stick with it, I really like Jerry coming out the Ashe. We saw him play it very well yesterday. Yes, I know we lost, but overall on the particular maps, I think he played it very effectively as far as the skills. He was making great skill shots, able to utilize both the shotgun and sniper aspects of Ashe's kit. So overall, I kind of like the setup so far. And again, Mag back on the Winston. And we finally have that Zarya, John. Fury on the Zarya. I have been calling for the Zarya for 5 maps now. And we finally, 6 maps actually, we finally see it coming out. I think that could be a huge difference maker here on Hollywood.
Yeah, and Mag dropping down early. That definitely hurts that initial push off to wait for Mag to get back. Definitely need that Winston to push onto the point. Now the Justice slowly making their way through that choke point. I am using that sniper shotgun of Ashe. It feels like things got some distance for a shotgun.
It does. And speaking of distance, Boston's starting to get pushed back a little bit of a distance here as Mag is getting ready to jump in up top. Overall, the Justice starting to move on to this point. It's always tough to get past that first choke point, and then teams begin to sit back a little bit farther. So far, the Justice able to push them back pretty effectively.
That's tough. When the support player takes out Assassin. That push not going to plan. They'll go ahead and regroup once again. Jerry pretty low as well. Go ahead and get some healing done before the next push. Mag back up. Bebe's ult's ready to go. Mag getting pretty close. May see a primal here in just the next few moments on this team fight.
Yeah, I think a lot of things went well in that last fight for the Justice. In the end, there was a little bit of miscommunication. It felt like Mag went in a little bit too early before he was able to get too much follow-up there when he jumped on top. Had that been a little bit more communicated, I think we would have seen the damage come out a little bit more evenly for the Justice and possibly beginning to tick up that point just a little bit.
Now Justice making a move through the backside of the point, trying to split the Uprising up. And Mag even going as far as going to their spawn, making sure some of those players can't get back, just absolutely harassing that back line. Assassin picking up a kill on Valentine as well. Justice trying to make a stand here. They get the first tick. Just have to finish off. Cap objective A, then we'll start pushing the card. Just under $130 to go to do it. Mag back in time now, trying to take it to the healers as well. Faith picking up a double kill on Mag and Mercy. Closer and Mag will have to go back to spawn, try to make their way back here. Under a minute to go. Have one tick halfway through the second, but they're going to need a little more push here if they're going to try to cap this and start pushing that cart. Maybe enough time for 1 or 2 more team fights, but they got to move quick.
Yeah, it's probably just going to be one more, and they're hoping to get some more ultimates available. They're going to have the Echo ult up for Assassin. Ashe is getting close at 75%. Mag also right around 75%. Bebe getting that Nano right around 70 as well. So they're going to try to poke a little bit here, get those ultimates ready, and then they're going to look to engage to finish this one off.
Yeah, they get that pick onto Ashe, and now they're going to make a move. Jerry trying to push him back. They get the second tick. Now they're really pushing Boston back. Assassin duplicating Orisa puts down the damage buff on Mag, and everyone just popping off. They're going to put the team kill onto Boston. They will cap point A. Now they're going to push up, try to pick some more players off as that cart is now going to start to move.
Absolutely great play there from the Justice overall, not having to use all their ults as well. They use the Mag ult there coming out, but they still able to hold on to Jerry's ult and Bebe's ult. Assassin's ult did get used. So 2 for 4, really. I mean, they ended up pretty effective in that fight, taking that point, now moving this cart, and still ults available to play with.
Looks like Boston is going to go ahead and set up at the end of the salon. We'll let that cart push up just a little bit, get into that corridor. But Mag looking to dive back line, harassing the Uprising again. Fear and Assassin already down for the Justice. That will be enough to hold the Justice off for now. 1:35 to go here on this push to the first checkpoint. Now Jerry on a Widow looking to pop some heads. Taking his time, waiting for the rest of the team to get into position to draw some more of the Uprising players out. Boston trying to hold strong here, approaching 1 minute left. Boston doing everything they can to hold on to that high ground. Their position is not bad as Mag makes the move on top. Will quickly drop back down. Punk on Sigma will go ahead and use the ultimate. Catches Bebe. But Jerry picking up a double kill as well already. Players on both sides fighting for what could be the last team fight here. 30 seconds to go.
I think they should have time to regroup here, and they're going to have Mag's ult available on Winston, Assassin getting close, Jerry getting close as well. Bebe's ult up for the Nano too, as well as Fury Zarya ult. The Washington Justice have a lot of ultimates to work with here. Should be able to continue moving this card forward. Absolutely. If they can get some good positioning.
They will definitely have to move quick here. Under 10 seconds to go. Jerry and Assassin still a little bit away percentage-wise. And they are back in time. Valentine trying to be a little sneaky there on Echo. You see that he's like crouching back there. How can you hover and crouch at the same time?
Probably watched a little bit of Naga play yesterday on the Paris Eternal. That ended up being a huge Achilles heel for the Justice, those flanking Echo plays. Overall, Valentine picking off one here in Jerry, but Fury able to turn one back with taking down stand one.
Mag and Fury both using their ultimates as well, trying to push that cart a little bit more. Fury trying to lay down that damage. Pushing the Uprising back, moving that car even more. Fury taking down Faith. Wrecking Ball coming in as well, causing some havoc there for the Justice. They're not going to be able to get to the first checkpoint on the cart phase. But Joey, if there's one thing I know about this Washington Justice team is their defense on hybrid maps is usually pretty good. No team really takes it within the first minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. The Justice hold on pretty well. So I do feel fairly strong on this defensive hold here on the point. And if Boston does somehow able cap the point and go into the cart push phase, I still feel fairly decent that the defense of the Justice will be enough to hold.
Yeah, absolutely. The Justice have been phenomenal so far on escort defenses, and that very well could be the case here again. With Hollywood in particular, we see some teams struggle to even take point A. The Justice really letting a lot of time off the clock trying to take it themselves, as Boston held a pretty good defense there. In the end, Washington able to cap it is a big feather in their cap as they continue to move forward here. They got a decent push on it as well, unfortunately falling just shy of that point, but come out with a strong defense here, and they could hold Boston off. Finish this one off with just 1 point in their hat. We'll see how it goes, though. Again, we're getting ready to load in. It looks like similar compositions here. We do have an Orisa possibly coming out for Mag, though. Fury switching over to the Sigma, it looks like, as well as Bebe switching over to Baptiste. So actually quite a few changes coming out for the side of the Washington Justice. At least for now, we know with these things, they could change any minute as we continue to get ready to load in. But it looks like they will take the more standard defensive composition.
Time for defense as the Justice trying to harass the Uprising as they come out of their spawn here just a little bit, trying to get a little extra damage on them before they push their way up. Valentine back out on that Echo. The Justice looking to push up there. They want to hold that corner. They want to use those shields to protect them as try to push the Uprising back. And they thought about going to the high ground. The Justice quickly get back in time to push them back. Valentine on Echo again. He really must have watched Naga from the Paris Eternal here, pretty much doing the exact same flanking plays that we saw from Naga, picking up a double kill. And Boston is going to take the objective fairly quick here, just under 3 minutes. Now they're going to have just
one of those
5
coin flips with Hollywood point A overall. You end up with certain situations like that where a team either takes it extremely quickly or it gets brought down to the final few seconds. It feels like there's really no in between on point A here for Hollywood. In the end, Boston being that team, being that aggressive team, able to take it here early on. The Justice still have a chance to defend here. They are getting chunked down quite a bit. Not too many ultimates available to play with. Jerry's getting close, so Bob could be called in here soon. Bebe's also up here once he respawns.
Punk on Sigma trying to do even more damage onto the Justice. This is trying to hold off. That cart continues to move. They don't even have to make it to the first point. They just have to go one hair past what the Justice pushed. They're getting close to possibly doing it here. Closer, 93%, 94% for his ultimate as well. Jerry activating Bob. Bob coming out. But the Sigma ult will catch several members of the Justice, keeping them away even longer. Bob, the only one on the payload at the moment. Punk gets caught in the Sigma ult as well. But it won't be enough for the Justice as the Uprising will take map 2 here on Hollywood. And they will go up 2-0 in the series. Joey, that's a tough one. That is another tough one. Again, we're seeing those last-second team fights just not going in favor of the Washington Justice again. It's really looking like it might be their Achilles heel here. It's just unable to get that last team fight and win to really hold off Boston.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to one thing to sum up this weekend for the Justice, it's honestly flanking Echoes right now. It just doesn't seem like this team has an answer to the flanking Echo. We saw it yesterday with Naga from the Paris Eternal, seeing it again today up against the Boston Uprising. That Echo just able to get behind them and really shred them down quite a bit before they either A, realize it, or B, respond to it. So in the end, I think going, I mean, obviously for this match, matchup, you're going to continue to try and find the answer to it. But heading into next weekend with this new meta, in a sense, really starting to become a big form here with Echo being played a number of times throughout the weekend, I think that's going to be the biggest answer for this coaching staff to find an answer to. How do we answer this flanking Echo? Do we have someone watch out for it more effectively? Are we starting to call out Echo's positioning a lot more in team comms? That right now has been the biggest difference for this Justice team. Either 99% points or ending up not pushing the payload long enough, that Echo coming out and playing a huge role in that.
Yeah, it's definitely something they have to answer. It's now 2 days in a row we're seeing Echo really be the biggest issue here. When Boston didn't pull the Echo out on Lijiang Tower, we saw what the Justice were able to do. Again, Echo being played because of those hero bans for the June Joust. Again, it's Tracer and Sombra for your DPS. They're out, and those were two of the biggest problems for a lot of teams when the Justice would play Tracer or Sombra. Those were massive team fight changers. The pulse bomb for Tracer, the EMP blast from Sombra, they both had big significant impacts on those team fights. You take them out of that comp. I mean, again, Decay, known for his Tracer. Tracer's out, and that's a big blow. You take those heroes out of the pool, and that's when we see players or heroes like an Echo come out. With Reinhardt being out, that's when we see the Orisa come out as well. We're seeing all these off-meta picks, if you will, now becoming meta because the 4 heroes that were taken out had such a massive impact in this game. And really, those 4 heroes also were probably some of the best heroes for this Justice roster. So again, with them still trying to figure out the meta, again, the Justice aren't the only ones struggling in this current meta. A lot of teams are struggling. And like Joey, like you were saying here earlier on the broadcast, a lot of these other teams that maybe struggled back in May, now they're playing heroes they may be used to, that they may excel on. And it's the same thing. When metas change, teams really do change. And that's what we're seeing here. And this Justice team need to find an answer to that.
Yeah, and I mean, Echo is one of those heroes that you can see played as a flanking hero, or you can see it as a straight-on attack style DPS. And I think, at least from what we're seeing, it seems like the Justice have not really prepared as much for that flanking side. Either that, or it's just being played that effectively against them. Like Naga yesterday was just phenomenal on it. And I think when you think Tracer, when you think Sombra, you typically see them as those flanking style heroes. So when you look at a meta shift, you're like, okay, so Tracer's been banned out, Sombra's been banned out. Now we're not going to have as much of that flanking coming in. It's going to be a little bit of a different looking meta. At least from what we've seen with Paris and Boston, they're still going to use Echo almost the same way that they were using Tracer prior to. They're trying to flank, they're trying to get behind, they're trying to be that nuisance, and in a sense is almost laying down even more damage than we saw from some of the Tracers.
Absolutely. So again, a lot of things still up in the air. June Joust with the hero bans, it's tough for a lot of teams. Moving on to map 3 now. Again, map 1 and map 2 going in favor of Boston. That was Lijiang and Hollywood. Now we're going to be turning our attention, Joey. We're going down under. We're going down to Junkertown, home of our good friends Junkrat and Roadhog. And we will be, I believe this is the first time on Junkertown this season for the Washington Justice. So definitely excited for this map pull as well. It is an escort map, something that we did see the Justice struggle on a little bit in Hollywood. Hopefully, with it being a pure escort map, we might be able to see them push it just a little bit more because they'll definitely have a bigger time bank on their side with it being a solid escort map going forward. But again, we're looking for those signs of improvement. We're looking for those team fights. We're seeing, we're looking for those abilities to find out where the Echo is on that flank, being able to respond to it, being able to take care of it, and also continuing to push that cart. It's small steps in the right direction. Again, with those hero bans, the meta and the game style has changed incredibly, and we're seeing a lot of teams struggle with it. So we're looking for those signs of improvement, like we saw in the first 4 weeks. Week 1, or the very first game for the Justice, while yes, it was a 3-1 win, it wasn't a clean 3-1 win. They had a lot of issues, but they were able to continue to grow throughout those weeks into a dominant force going into the May Melee. Now, taking a look here as we're going back into the game, Punk will be subbed out this time for Boston, but again on the side of the Justice, and I know I'm reading what you're putting down. I feel you. Unfortunately, Decay is not subbed in for this map as well. It is going to be Jerry and Assassin going into Junkertown. here on this map.
I mean, I'm not surprised. They came in with a plan for this weekend. The plan is to play Assassin and Jerry. We've seen them do it. Assassin being almost the echo specialist for the weekend as the new meta kind of develops. And we've seen Jerry switch around to a few different heroes. We've seen him on Reaper. We've seen him on Widowmaker. His McCree has played pretty well, as well as his Ashe. So still trying to find exactly what this meta means for this team and how they best fit within it. So at least for now, probably throughout the rest of the weekend, we are going to see Assassin and Jerry kick off in those DPS roles. Whether that continues when we see the Justice on stage next, that's to be determined. We'll have to see how they continue to develop during the meta.
Washington will be on the attack first. A very standard Uprising lineup here coming out. Maybe the only difference here is I am on Hanzo. Oh boy. And then of course the Overwatch League had to put this stat up there. Justice have never lost an escort map to the Uprising, 5-0 all time. I do like that stat, but that stat probably was not with Tracer and Sombra banned. So we'll see what happens there. Again, a lot of these stats very misleading from the Overwatch League they like to throw up on here. But we will see here. Hopefully we can make that 6-0. Feeling positive. Chat, we need your positive energy. We need that positive vibes for the team. As I'll go ahead and get that volume back up here for everyone so we can actually hear in-game sound. That'd be nice, Joey, right? In-game sound?
That would be wonderful, and it will be the Justice kicking things off here on the attack on this escort map. Starting to move it forward about 20 meters in. Still plenty of time to play with as we just getting things kicked off. Comp-wise, we are going to stick with Assassin on Echo, and Jerry's going to pull off the Widowmaker to kick things off.
And Mag will be on Wrecking Ball. A lot of great opportunity here in the early part of this push phase to use that Wrecking Ball to really harass that back line. Again, Valentine on Echo. Getting some of those early kills will force the Justice to regroup once again. Now Max sneaking up behind the payload, moving a little forward there a little bit. Very mobile with that ball. Jerry continuing to look for those sight lines. Trying to find that pick so the team can engage.
Jerry had that aim down too. If that Brigitte dropped her shield at any point, her head was going to get hit. She's able to keep it up. I don't know if she saw Jerry or not in that situation, but unfortunately not able to get the pick.
Jerry taking down Valentine. That's definitely a good thing that they can move in on. Justice coming around that back corner. The Immortality Field is down and quickly dispatched by Fury. Jerry sneaking around the backside, looking to pick more Boston players off. They don't know where he is. Very, very sneaky. I'm liking this. Now discovered by Boston, looking for one more kill, but unable to find it before he's taken out.
Was taken out, but he really turned 3 or 4 players from Boston around there, allowing Assassin to come in along with some support, and they end up taking out quite a few players. Mag does fall in the end.
Cart pushes closer to that first checkpoint. 1:45 to go. Fury causing some problems there as Little Diva, but it's okay. We'll go ahead and reset as a team. Come back full stack of 6 for another attempt to push that first point. Not too far away. One more good team fight should be enough to cap the first checkpoint.
It's going to be a tough one, though, John. Boston with a nice-looking ult economy right now. McCree's Deadeye is up. Also a Sigma ult and a Brigitte ult to work with. Baptiste ult pretty close, as well as Valentine's on that Echo. On the side of the Justice, a lot of hero changes coming out. Now we have a Hanzo in place of Echo. Orisa and Sigma coming out for the tank line. And I believe Closer switched off as well now on Brigitte. So a lot of changes coming out, and that's going to reset those ult timers. 1 minute to work with to try to build them back up.
Now Valentine duplicating Hanzo. Sigma ult catches 2. The Dragon's out there from Valentine before he goes back to Echo. Peppering that back line. Valentine just being an absolute nuisance on that Echo.
And those old timers still looking like a bit of an issue for the Justice here. Widowmakers is getting close, but it's only going to be able to do so much as far as team fights go. It doesn't really bring any CC to the table. Bebe's is getting close as well, somewhat at 60%, but not too much time to work with. They're probably not going to have any ults up available for this final fight.
Justice with just 10 seconds left to try to make this final push. Boston split on both sides of the building, looking for a collapse onto the Justice. And the Justice unable to get back to the cart in time, not even able to reach that first checkpoint there on the push phase. We'll have to have a very strong defensive performance here, as it is do or die time here on map 3 on Junkertown.
Yeah, it has been a tough weekend for the Justice here. Adapting to a new meta takes time, and it doesn't look like they've had too much time since May Melee to get it done. This meta is still eluding them a little bit. Again, the talent is there. We know our tank line is phenomenal. Our DPS, whether it's Assassin, Jerry, Decay, or Tuba, all of them very capable of laying down very good damage. Just in the end, this meta has just been a little bit of an enigma for them in a sense, trying to get it going at least in this first weekend. I think moving forward, we probably will see some changes here and there, maybe some new heroes coming out to try to change things up with the meta. And this is something we see in pro play in many different esports. Many teams will just stick directly to the meta, while we see some other teams, like we saw with the Fuel early on in May Melee, where they try to almost adapt the meta to themselves, find different ways around it. Whether it be an off-meta hero pick or an off-meta style being played, that could be something we see the Justice look into as well. But for now, it's not over. We're still going. They do have a chance at defending here up against Boston, who is getting ready to load in. It looks like they're going to run a Echo, Reaper, Orisa, Sigma, Baptiste, and Brigitte coming out to kick things off.
Strong defense needed here from the Justice. I think the other thing to touch on, too, when it comes to hero pools, like it's tough for all these pros because the hero pool is announced on a Tuesday. It's announced on the Tuesday before going into the week. You get a couple days to practice on the new meta or the new comp, trying to figure out what the meta is. And then you go right into competitive play. I mean, it's definitely an advantage if you don't play the first week of the June Joust. Like, you know, with the Justice, they didn't start the May Melee on week 1. They started in week 2. It was definitely an advantage, kind of seeing how the meta was playing out there. But it's tough for a quick turnaround here as Jerry picking off Valentine again.
Yeah, really nice Widow Mine over there, able to finish off the kill. Got a few taps there, unfortunately, not finding the headshot, but the Widow Mine finishing it off.
Assassin getting the double kill as well. Strong defense so far. Boston were able to push that card a little bit farther, a little bit quicker than the Justice did on their initial push. Just under 3 minutes to go on the defensive phase here. Justice
they can push the card as long as they want, as long as they don't touch our spot, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, overall, ult economy-wise, we're starting to charge up. It looks like Boston's right around the same pace we are. The Baptiste a little bit farther ahead, as Bebe is at 66%, while Myeon Bong is at 92% at the moment. So they're going to have that Baptiste ult up a little bit earlier than the Justice. With that being said, the Justice pretty close, around 70% on a number of their ultimates.
And Boston looking to flank from the side as well, trying to get more pressure on that defense on the backside of the Justice. Justice holding strong fairly well so far. Now they're going to push it around that corner. Just have to get back real quick. They died staggered. That cart is pushing even more. And they will push it the distance. And this one, it's painful. It is. Justice fans, we are right there with you. It is not what any of us want. That was, it's not our weekend. Just chalk it up to that. It's not our weekend. It wasn't the best team that we've, this meta is just making me want to pull my own hair out. And this Justice team, I can guarantee they're just as frustrated as anyone out there. And I wish I had answers, Joey. I wish I had answers. And this was just a tough weekend for the Washington Justice.
Yeah, tough weekend for the Justice. Boston played well. Paris played well, too. In the end, I mean, we can just beat a dead horse here. It's the meta, guys. It's going to take some time to adapt to the meta. This is the first go at it. Unfortunately, it comes out as an 0-2 weekend for the Justice, but they have time to rate the ship coming into this week, though. They know what to practice on. Again, the flanking echo was a huge issue this weekend. That's one thing we'll definitely see them practice. Maybe they end up changing a couple heroes. Maybe they even pull in some, in a sense, off-meta picks compared to what some of these other teams in the league are currently playing. At least for now, it just did not seem like, whether it be this team composition, whether it be the heroes chosen, whether it be the communication in a couple of these team fights, like those 99% we saw in a couple of the control maps this weekend, a few things definitely need to change. The good thing is they have these VODs to go back and review. They're going to be tough to watch, just as tough as they were for us and the fans to watch here as well. But at the same point, that's how you go through. That's how you continue to improve as a player. You're going to check out these VODs. You're going to find ways to say, hey, this is what we did poorly in this situation. This is how we can improve. Or say, hey, maybe this lineup didn't work. Maybe we sub Decay back in one of these roles. Maybe Decay has even spent this weekend working on pulling out his Echo or pulling out his McCree. It's one of those things that we will probably see changes moving forward. But overall, this team, again, as John said earlier on in the stream, as we heard Grant say yesterday, they approach this as a team. Decay is not sitting out there saying, hey, I should have been playing all these games, but we would have won. He's saying, hey, guys, we struggled as a team. This is not a single-player game. This is purely a multiplayer team game where everyone is going to win or lose as a team, and that's really the way the Justice mentality is approached by the players, by the coaching staff, and the management. I think we'll be stronger next week. It sucks being here at 0-2 this weekend, but still we're 4-2 on the season. We're looking great overall. Yes, we've struggled this weekend, but take this weekend aside, we're a very strong team, and we've seen the brilliance that couldn't come out of these players. It just needs a little bit of time to refine on this new patch.
Absolutely. And I think something else to look at, again, with the short turnaround time between the announcements of what heroes were banned going into this week, obviously a lot of teams are struggling with the current hero bans. Playing the first week when those bans come out is definitely tough. Now the Justice have a taste of it. They'll be able to sit back. They'll do those VOD reviews. They'll be able to watch how other teams respond as well, because it's going to be a while before the Justice play again. It's going to be a week. The Justice will have a week off. The next official co-stream is the next time the Justice play, and that's going to be on June 4th, a Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Washington Justice YouTube channel as well. So they will have time to work on this comp. They'll have time to figure things out. They'll have time to really pull this team together, get that communication back on page, and really figure out this meta and see what's going to be able to change for them in-house to improve and get back to their winning ways.
Absolutely. Definitely some work to be done there. Overall, unfortunate 0-2 weekend. Now we're sitting at 4-2. Still in the top half of the standings, though, John. Still plenty of hope for Justice fans. It was a rough weekend, but we know the talent is there, and we know they'll turn it around.
Absolutely. So we're going to throw it over to the post-match show here real quick. It'll be a very quick break. We'll see if we'll be able to get an interview from a player or one of the managers. I have a feeling it won't be from a player today. It's tough going 0-2 in a week. So we'll see if we're able to get someone from the Washington Justice on here. We'll talk a little bit about the Justice team, the current state of the game, and the meta. And we'll be right back, and we'll wrap everything up. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. All right, so we are back. We have just received official word here from the team. Unfortunately, we will not be having an interview today. We can confirm that things back at the headquarters, the team's feeling down. The coaching staff wants to get right to work on correcting a lot of those errors. This team is going to bounce back. This team is too talented not to bounce back. It was a very tough weekend here, the first week of the June Joust. Everyone at home watching on YouTube, you're right there with us. We know exactly what this team is capable of. We know this skill level that they can play at. And obviously this weekend was not their weekend, but we know they're going to bounce back. So unfortunately, no interview from a player or a member of the coaching team today. But we can guarantee you they are already hard at work at correcting a lot of the issues they had this weekend. And they have a full week to go over those VODs and practice as well in this new meta. And hopefully we'll be bouncing back against Miami on June 6th at 6 p.m., which is the next, I should say, official co-stream here on the Washington Justice YouTube channel. So if you have not already done so, make sure you hit that sub button and the notification bell as well here on the YouTube channel so you know when the next live stream is ready to go, and also all the amazing content that the Washington Justice put out every single week here on the YouTube channel as well. So make sure you are following that as well. And again, Joey, it was a tough week, but with that, we will go ahead and wrap it up here for the official co-stream of the Washington Justice here this weekend. Again, the Justice falling 3-0 to Boston today, going 0-2 on the weekend. So Justice fans, keep your head up. We'll bounce back, and we will see everyone in June on June 4th. On behalf of Joey Courtside King, my name is John Fiasco. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in June.